Now I'll just say this now and I will say it again. I'm a weeb. I am a weeb, and an experienced one at that. What the hell does that mean? Well, I've seen dozens of different animes, some of which were very bad at the very beginning, while others took me and the entire internet by storm. And even though all these animes are different by story, they're all connected by this one little small thing. This bond that's more stronger than your parents' marriage, and the belief in the fact that you think you're gonna get laid in high school, because let's face it, that's not gonna happen. And I'm talking about tropes. Anime tropes. Now, anime tropes are one of the most controversial things to talk about because one single trope, whether it's popular or not, can make the anime. That's how powerful these tropes are. They basically have the power to shape worlds. Now, a lot of these tropes can be very harmless and can actually make the anime more better than it was originally intended to be, while other tropes are pretty basic, like the MC character being insanely strong at the very beginning of the story. Like, we get it. That is like the white bread of white bread when it comes to anime tropes. But there's a few very weird and do I say should be illegal tropes that people rather not talk about. Well, I mean, people have talked about it, but on like websites like Twitter, Reddit, 4chan, you get my point, those type of people. I don't really check that shit out. Now, if you're a very sane person who reads manga or watch anime, you have definitely seen these tropes and know what I'm talking about. It's the type of tropes which you, if you liked, you probably are either a pedo or someone that's like really into anime. And I mean like really into anime. Thankfully, I've not crossed that line. I'm like a level 45 out of 100 when it comes to the weeb scale. I don't have any half-naked girl figurines laying around or any waifu body pillows laying around as well. So I think I'm in the clear. All I really do is watch anime and collect manga, so I'm in like on that E for everyone scale. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to open your eyes and show you a perspective that many anime watchers don't like talking about or feel comfortable even saying about. And yeah, I'm just gonna go down the list, so let's get right into it. Okay, I feel like the first trope I gotta talk about is the one that is way too familiar in the anime community, and that is the brother-sister complex. I don't even know where this thing came out of. I mean, a guy in his basement probably was just looking to supposedly quote-unquote spice up his manga story, so he created this. And you know, if you're into that stuff, that's fine. You just gotta follow this one rule, just one. You have to be born and raised in Alabama. That's the only requirement you have to have if you're going to be into this shit. Anything else and you'll just be bullied to the shadow realm. Now, I know the whole topic of like brother sister love and incest is nothing new, but leave that stuff for the adult websites. Don't add that into a perfectly good anime story. Like the first time I was ever introduced to this stuff was in SAO, also known as Sword Art Online. Remember that anime? Remember when it was so good? Anyway, surprise, the show happens to take a turn for the worse when they added the brother-sister complex into the story, which, coincidence? I think not. Anyway, it's around the second half of the anime when they introduced this new character to the story, who is obviously meant to be like the new waifu within my main man Kirito's secret harem of ladies that are just down bad for him. And everything kind of seems fine at the very beginning. You know, she seems like an interesting character until things start to get take a bit of a weird turn. And if you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. It isn't until later that you finally realize it's like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay. She wants to fuck her brother. It all makes sense now, you know, the blushing and stuff. Okay, all right. Wow, that is the direction this show is taking. And this is like a really weird thing too, because she's not letting my man go. It gets even worse when she finds out the guy that she's been into and been talking to in this digital world happens to be her brother. Which I feel like at this point she should be just done with everything, because let's face it, that is a new low of low when it comes to that amount of embarrassment. In the scenario where a person you've been talking to and like happens to be your brother, at that point I would just never use social media again. But like 10 years later at like a Christmas reunion party, you'll laugh and, you know, discuss about the story because it's a funny thing. I mean, not for the girl in the anime, because in that case she's just done with like everything at that point. But yeah. Now, this trope has been very normalized within the manga and anime industry, which it's really weird if you think about it. Like, who would accept a concept like this and just normalize it like this kind of stuff happens frequently in the real world? I mean, I don't know a single person that likes their brother to the point where they want to be in a relationship with them. Like, it's just weird. Also, probably illegal from where they're from. Unless you're from Alabama doing this like crazy stuff, 99% of the human population can agree that this is just plain out creepy. I don't know if this is the type of stuff that happens in Japan. Like, I don't know the laws. Like, if that's how it is, then oh well. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just not down for that shit. Now, the brother-sister complex seemed to be designed at first as this wholesome thing where it's like the brother or sister is overprotective along with overcaring of the other sibling, and that would have been fine. But over time, people started to change things up, turning the trope to something much more worse than it was originally intended to be. I mean, like, sexual tension between siblings. Come on. If you got that kind of like fetish, then leave that to yourself. Do not put that in like a manga or anime that I'm enjoying. Like, I'm trying to enjoy myself. I don't want to see this crazy brother love incest stuff happening in the making. Now, if you thought that was bad, well, buckle up, because it gets a lot more worse than this. Lolicons, or rather a romance relationship with lolicons, is the next trope that I want to talk about. Now, if you're someone that's a bit of an innocent soul that, doesn't know what lolicons is, then I bless you, my friend. But pretty much what lolicons are, it's basically someone that's 18 or older looking like they're 10. So, yeah, that's pretty much the trope that pedos enjoy. Now, I'm not going to go to this like full debate discussing whether lolicon should be approved or not in this modern society, because I feel like the answer is it's pretty obvious. This trope should be locked away, and the person that made it should be checked out. Now, the concept of this doesn't really sound bad on paper if you really think about it. Like, someone looks much more younger than their actual age. Like, doesn't sound that big of a deal unless you actually see it for yourself. But it gets really weird when they decide to add the romance aspect to it. Which, again, if you've been paying attention to what I've been saying, normal adult guy in an adult body with a relationship with a normal adult girl in a not normal 10-year-old body doesn't really scream, I hope you have a good relationship vibe, if you get what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, there's this one anime called Masumi or Masuno, I don't really know, No Revenge, and it's this romance anime about this guy who was once fat as a kid trying to get into a relationship with his childhood friend. Doesn't really matter, that's not the point right now. Now, the main character has a sister and a mom, but the mom doesn't look like a mom, but someone that rather hasn't gone through puberty yet. And what I mean is that she looks like this. This is not a mother. This is a elementary student. Imagine the MC asking his mom about the birds and the bees of growing up when clearly she hasn't been through that. What makes this even more weird and creepy is the fact that she has kids. Also, the father is like never mentioned in the show for good reasons, obviously. Because imagine explaining to the audience that the father, this a normal adult man married to a literal child. Even though she's 40 years old, it doesn't remove the fact that she straight up looks like she's 10. And for that reason, they never mentioned the dad, I guess. Like, we don't know if he went to go grab the milk and never came back, or if he just like works really far away, or there's even a dad in this like family scenario. Like, I don't know. Like, these are the questions I need to know, but I'm also glad they don't answer it. So if you get what I'm saying. Now, obviously, people with a brain figured out that this is just plain creepy and weird. So what some manga creators do is that they keep the lolicon trope with the whole love relationship thing, but the lolicon has a very unrealistic age. And what I mean by that is the age of the lolicon can be hundreds to thousands years old, which by the way, doesn't make it any better. Like, I don't care if you're a god or something, or your age is like this unbelievable number, you're still in this child's body. I mean, what's so bad about creating a character that looks and acts like their age? Like, is there something wrong with that? Is that just like non-existent anymore? And it's not like I'm not gonna like the anime any less if there isn't a lolicon character. I mean, I'll like it even more because you have a good, sane mindset. But you know what? Whatever, okay? If you're someone that's creating a story and decides to add a lolicon character in the story with some sort of romance aspect, go for it, okay? Just remember, hell is coming sooner than you think. Now, the last trope I'm going to be talking about in this video isn't as bad as the other two, but I mean, it's still pretty bad. And it goes around something like minors trying to get it on with someone that's an adult. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Unlike the last two tropes I've talked about in this video, this one is something that is commonly happening in the real world. You're going to be seeing some guy on the news being called a predator for trying to go steady with some 14-year-old girl. And you know, you're probably thinking like, wow, why is this even a trope? Like, why does it even exist? Because in the real world, stuff like this is deemed illegal. Unless, you know, the law you live in is like a third world country that hasn't really updated their laws yet. But yeah, that's a whole can of worms I don't want to open. Now, the way this trope works is that they show the whole wholesome side to this very much illegal relationship by showing the MCs of the show not really be in a relationship, but it's like in the works or something. Here's an example. There's this one anime called Kimiko or whatever, where the main guy of the show gets saved by a high school girl, and because she saved him, he's like head over heels for her and wants to get in a relationship with her. But she's like, nah fam, because one, they just met, right? It's the only first ever real interaction, and two, he's much older than her. Not to mention, this guy is like really pushy. The entire show is just this guy trying to get in a relationship with this girl through like really creepy means. Like, she said no, dude. I mean, if this stuff happened in the real world, she would have either gotten a restraining order or catch this guy in 4K for being a creep. And even though the show tries to present the very wholesome moments on how this girl is like growing onto this guy, it's like, no, that doesn't change the fact that he wants to get it on with a high school girl. Like, there's plenty of fish in the sea, my guy. And another example, just before I end this video because it's getting a bit long, is this one anime where the roles are actually reversed, where the girl likes the guy, except the guy is in his 50s and has a kid. Like, what? It's fine if you got like a thing for older men, but come on, don't act on those emotions, because again, you're still a kid. If anything, you're gonna get my man into some big problems because he'll be called the creep, even though the roles are reversed. You're the one that likes him, not vice versa. But yeah, storytellers and creators, hear me now. The tropes I've discussed here should never be added into the story because one, there's gonna be this big war with two sides of people that either approve or disapprove this trope, and two, I don't have it to. I guess just like and subscribe the video. Okay, bye.